Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Larry Larcy. Welcome back to the channel. I've got a very exciting video today. Luminar AI just released Update 2. And Update 2's got a whole bunch of really cool things in it. First off, it has support for a lot of new cameras, including the Canon R5 and the R6. So if you've been holding off on getting one of those cameras because you wanted to wait until Luminar AI supported the format, you're safe to go now. They've updated the template section, the way those are organized to make that work a little more smoothly. They've also made the texture overlay feature a little more powerful as well. However, the big change, at least in my opinion, is the enhancement they've done to Sky AI. Now, Sky AI has always been a really powerful way of easily dropping skies into a scene, but you always had the problem of the reflection in the water that you had to deal with. And with this new update, they've taken care of that. And so when you drop a sky in, it goes ahead and matches the reflection for you. And then you've got all kinds of tweaks you can do to make things blend together so that it looks perfect. The great news is if you already have Luminar AI, it's a free update and you can go ahead and update to it at no cost. If you don't have AI and you want to check it out, there's a link in the description. I'll even tell you in the video how to get it at a discount. If you haven't had a chance to do so, please take a second to subscribe to the channel. I'm still trying to reach that goal of 1 billion subscribers. I'm still like 999 million away, but we're slowly catching up. So I think we'll be there soon. Without any further ado, let's roll the intro. All right, so here we are in Luminar AI, and first thing you will notice is when we're here in the templates view, you can see that the templates setup has changed a little bit, but we're going to save that for another video, so don't get sidetracked by that. What we're going to do is jump in here to Edit and go here to Sky, and it is down here in the Creative section, because here is where a big change has happened. If you've played around with earlier versions of this software, you know that they've been really good at dropping a sky into a scene, but you've kind of been left with the reflection in the water that's not going to be accurate without you going in manually and doing it. And so that's the biggest addition in my mind, is the way they've added this reflection in the water, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And we'll start out up here under Sky Selection, and you pick any of these skies. We can pick this one. And as you can see, it not only drops the sky in, but it gives us the reflection here that matches. And if we change to a different sky, you'll notice the water changes to match the sky. And in addition to just dropping that in, what you may also notice is that the scene overall will change a little bit. Like if we drop into go into like one of these where it's a really colorful sunset looking thing, you can see the whole scene takes on kind of that glow of the sky. So that's adding to your realism as well. And but we can go with this one for now. And you've got your reflection going on down here. So that's your basics. And a lot of times that is pretty much all you'll need right there. Now you do have, while we're here, you can go into Download More. And this is going to take you to their marketplace where you can buy all these different skies to add in there. However, you can also add your own skies. If you'll come here and open this little box up, it may actually be set to all skies like this, but you can click on these little arrows, bring up the menu here and go to Custom. And you'll have right here where you can add in your own skies. So if you've got a backlog of sky files that you want to use yourself, that's great. I definitely encourage you, if you're entering this in some sort of a competition or something, you definitely want to use your own skies and not use the preset skies. But if this is something you're just doing for fun, there's plenty in here already, or like I said, you can add some more skies through their site. But once you decide on which sky you want, we come back here, and this will give us a chance to go in and really dial in things and make some adjustments. Now, I have found that the vast majority of the time, there's not a lot that has to be done. They pretty much get it right. But we'll go through what some of these are just to kind of show you how these would work with an image like this. Horizontal blending, and if you'll watch down here at the horizon line as I bring this all the way up, it basically starts softening that transition, and you can go the opposite way down to the bottom, and which can cause problems sometimes if you're starting to have some overlap into things, but we're not really having it here, so we're pretty much okay leaving that blending down like that. I like to leave it up just a little bit so that it is a tiny bit softer down on the horizon. I feel like that just makes it a little more realistic. Your vertical offset is where you can move these down a little bit. You can move up. You can't always move up because, as you'll see as we move up, you get to that blank line there. But sometimes when it's set to its default, there might be that the cloud is in a way that you'd like to get the rest of this cloud in, or just compositionally you need the clouds to move a little bit, and you can change that offset to lower that cloud down and things like that. Horizontal offset's going to do the same thing, where we can move things left and right. Now, kind of the extreme version of this, with this horizontal shifting, is the flip here. This comes in really handy if you have a scene, say the original scene was heavily lit from this side, and we had shadows and all that coming across. You'd want to make sure the clouds were lit from the same side too, so you can flip them using that flip. Luckily, this scene was just super flat, and so we didn't really have that problem to have to deal with. Rotation is going to rotate them radially like that, so you can see if you've got kind of a crooked picture and you need crooked clouds, I suppose. I don't know really why you would use that, other than maybe for a specific creative purpose, but it's there if you need it. Your mask refinement here is being able to go in and adjust the mask if you're not happy with how it's masking out a lot of these things. But I don't generally mess with that because I've been pretty happy with the masking of how it does it. Now, scene relighting. What this is going to do is kind of come back through here and change the lighting on the rest of the scene. As you can see, it does it automatically to a certain extent. It will shift those colors a little bit. But what you can do is you can bring that saturation up, and as you move this over, it's going to affect the rest of the scene and darken it, lighten it, add some warmth, different colors, whatever your sky is doing. It will kind of help you to adjust that. So I've found that every once in a while you'll get a sky in there and just something doesn't quite look right and you can't quite figure out in your head why the sky doesn't quite look right. It's probably because your scene needs a little bit of adjustment, and you will a lot of times go through with this relight, mess around with these sliders until you go, okay, well now the scene appears to match the sky. You've got a human one here specifically for humans, which is kind of interesting, and we'll take a look at that here on the next image. There's not any people in this one. Well, there are people, but they're kind of hard to see. The reflection amount down here is we can decide how prominent we want that to be. And again, push it all the way over to 100. You can see, you can really see the clouds there. It's way too bright. And then you can bring it all the way down. It almost disappears. So again, this is going to be probably in a situation where you look at it and you go, you know what, that reflection either doesn't look realistic, or it does look realistic, but it's becoming a distraction. It's making the water too light. You can pull it back a little bit. And so then it's still there, and so the sky still matches the water, but it's not a distraction, and it still looks to match up properly with the sky. Now you also have these sky adjustments where you can affect this file itself with things like defocus, grain. You may have an image that is kind of soft for one reason or another, and then you've got this super sharp sky in there, and so the sky doesn't really match the image, and you can come through and use this defocus to drop back on the sharpness of the sky. Same with the grain. You got a super grainy image, and then you drop in a clean sky. That's going to match up. It's not going to look right. And of course, you've got that atmospheric haze, which gives you just kind of that hazy look through there. Again, these are when you're trying to match that sky. You've got your warmth and brightness here. If you decide the scene's still warmer than the sky and you want to warm it up, you can do that just like that, or cool things down. And you can see it's still going to affect the scene a little bit. I think and maybe that's just kind of an illusion, but it does seem to blend things together through here where it still kind of fits. But that allows you to go through, and so you're not really stuck with the sky that is presented. You can, like I said, not only put in a totally different sky, but come through here and just tweak some of the settings and give something a little more warmth, a little bit of grain, whatever you need to do until it matches the scene and you're happy with it. Now, of course, at this point, you could go through and do any of these other things, the dramatic, the augmented sky where you add items, things like that. But we're just kind of looking at really this reflection feature. This is kind of the new thing in update 2. So that's how an image like that would work. Let's jump into another one. Here's one that Luminar provided. It's kind of a sample image. What this one will do is show us the human interaction. So we'll come up here to select sky. Let's pick one. Let's pick let's go with one of these. And as you can see, we've got the reflection down here. We'll try a couple more just so you can kind of see how they work. And every time we change the sky, it's going to go back and fix it here in the reflection so that it matches up, which is a super handy thing. We can also say we just stick with this one. This is where we can kind of look at that horizontal offset, for example, or even the flip, where we flip it and you'll see it flips the reflection in the water as well, which is super handy. But this one we flip. Then what you can do with the relight human is as we come through here and start doing this relight scene, you'll see it's kind of darkening things down there, but you can see that our subject isn't changing too much. The relight human slider is going to affect him. As you can see, we start moving through here. It's going to kind of darken him up, make him fit more in that scene. So if you're looking at it and you go, whole scene looks a little bit darker, but he's way too bright. Come in here, start playing with the slider, and get him to blend into the scene a little bit like that. And again, if you feel like the scene isn't quite matching up, you can play around with this relight and the saturation until it blends pretty well. But I think that looks pretty nice. You could come in here and maybe add a little bit of warmth to the scene like that. Bump that saturation back up. I think that works pretty well. It's done a nice job not only with the masking, but kind of making the whole scene come together. And I think it is much more believable, especially when you're able to drop that reflection here into the water, which was something you kind of used to have to do manually when you dropped in the sky. And so it really is a helpful feature that I think is a huge addition to this update 2. There you have it. Very powerful. I think they've taken what was already a very cool tool and just made it so much better with that extra feature of being able to work with the reflections, because so many images have those reflections in them that need to be dealt with, and I think that is a huge upgrade. Of course, there's plenty of other features in that software, and I've done a bunch of videos of them. Definitely a fan of the product. If you don't have it already and you want to get it, you can use the discount code LarryPhoto, and that'll get you a discount on the purchase. But that's it for now. Have fun playing around with the software, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.